let's try to see how we can compute min and max of two numbers using bitwise operations. So this is a very common operation, and if we want to avoid like doing it, if we do it using if else, this would result in branching, right? So let's try to do it in an efficient way. Uh, so let me write down the formula for this one. So to calculate the min, what I would do is I would do y XOR and x XOR y and AND it with minus of x less y. Okay, where x and y are the two numbers on which we want to calculate min and max. Okay, let's see how this works. So case one is x is less than y. Okay, so let's say x is 3 and y is 5. Okay, so what happens to this part? This is true, right? So this becomes 1 and this thing becomes -1, this entire thing, right? Which is all ones, right? So this becomes 1 1 1 1, right? And this is bitwise AND. So XOR y and bitwise AND with this, and then XOR with y, XOR with y. So what happens to this part now? Bitwise AND won't like change any bit in XOR y, so this essentially is equal to XOR y, right? So y XOR x XOR y. Now y XOR y, I mean they would cancel themselves out, so what remains is x, right? Okay, so which was the smaller number, as you can see here. All right, now let's try to see how we can find. Now let's take the second case now, in which x is 5 and y is 3. I mean x is greater this time, and we'll use the same formula. Okay, so what was our formula? If you can recall, it was y XOR x XOR y, and then AND with minus of x less y. Let's try to see what happens this time. And I'm trying to calculate min only, but in this case it should give me y, like 3. Previously it gave me x, like which was the smaller number. In this case y is the smaller number. So what happens to this statement? X less y, this is false, right? So this becomes minus of 0, which is nothing but 0, right? So we are basically trying to AND this time everything bitwise AND with 0 here, right? And then XOR with y. What happens when we AND bitwise AND with 0? It becomes 0. So essentially it is y XOR 0, and which is nothing but y. So which is the smaller number. So that's how it works. Let's try to find the max. Okay. The formula to calculate max would be very similar, and that would be equal to so everything inside the bracket remains same. So XOR y, okay, and then AND with minus of x less y. But instead of like XORing it with y, we would XOR it with x. So I'll run it on one example. X equals 10, y equals 2. Okay, let's see. X less y, x is 10, y is 2, which is false. So minus of 0, which is essentially 0. So this becomes x XOR y and 0, bitwise AND with 0. What happens when we do a bitwise AND with 0? Everything becomes 0. So x XOR 0, which is nothing but x, which was our larger number. So that's how it works. Let's try to see it in a program now. Okay, so as you can see, I've written down this program. X is 3, y is -5, and then I have written the logic to calculate min, and this is the logic to calculate max, and then I'm just printing out min and max. Okay, so let me try to run it and see. We'll see. Okay, so see, and then move it out. Okay, so min of x and y is -5, which is true, and then max was 3. So this is working fine, right? What we can do here is like instead of using this inside the main method, like if we can create a pre-processing directive like using hash define. We can hash define it and then we can use it whenever we want. This would be more faster, right? So hash define, let's say I'm defining min x comma y, and then I'll just copy this logic here. So here, and then let me just copy this one as max. So okay, hash define max is going to be max of x and y. It's going to be this. Okay, let's try to add a bracket here to be safe. Okay, and now let's see. Let's scrap everything. What I would do is I would say min of 3 and 6, and then max of 8 and 100 and 10. So sorry. Okay, let's see if this works. Okay, and then min of x and y is 3, min of 3 and 6 was 3, min of x and y is 10. Like for the second statement, max was 10, so it's working fine. So you can keep this, I mean, as hash define, and you can use a template, and in that template you can keep these two statements always to keep them handy. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching.